So someone asked me to do a video on the tuning of the banjo. So I'm going to do that. Here's my banjo, or one of my banjos. Now this is a 5-string banjo. Now, if you're in North America, then the 5-string banjo is probably the banjo you think of when you hear banjo music, probably. If you're from somewhere like Ireland or maybe elsewhere in Europe, you probably think of a 4-string tenor banjo, maybe first as a banjo. But here in America, the banjo, for the most part nowadays in 2025, it's all about the 5-string banjo. And so this is the 5-string banjo, and it's called that because it has 5 strings, 4 long strings and 1 shorter string. And this is like the OG style of banjo, like the original banjos that were created a couple hundred years ago in the Caribbean. They might not have had 5 strings, but they definitely had some long strings and a short string. So that's sort of the defining characteristic of the 5-string banjo, is this short string. And, you can tune these obviously any way you want. And you can even get rid of the 5th string altogether, but we won't do that. We'll just go over some common tunings and how this thing works. So the most common tuning probably for a banjo, 5-string banjo, it depends on a lot of factors, but I think it's safe to say the most common tuning is open G, which would be starting with this 5th string, G, D, G, B, D. So when you strum it, it's a G major chord, hence open G tuning. And that's probably like the most common banjo tuning. Now, in certain genres, a different variation of this tuning might be more popular. Like if you're playing old time music, especially with a fiddler, you might play open A, which would be this all shifted up a whole step, So you could retune, or you could, put a capo on here and either tune the string up or use railroad spikes like I have, or use a 5th string capo. Or you could get another banjo that's tuned differently. Like I have a short scale banjo right here that's always tuned in open A. But they're essentially the same tuning, they work the same. You can play the same thing the same ways. They'll just sound one step apart. So open G, most common tuning. And the way you kind of play the banjo, you can play it anyway, but if you're playing the 5-string, you want to work the 5th string in, and it's usually used as they call it the drone, but I don't know if that's really accurate because it's not like droning the whole way. It's sort of like, here's claw hammer. So I'm going like this, and I'm sounding it all the time, and I can also use it as use it as a melody note. It's also really handy as a way to shift. So if you need to shift from a lower position to a higher position, you can play this and while you're moving your hands. So you just kind of I heard someone call it a pedal point once, and that seems kind of accurate. So yeah, you're just kind of hitting this in between other notes, sort of, depending on what style you're playing. Like I said, that's the most common tuning, but you've also got sawmill right there. So that's G, D, G, C, D. So you just change that one B string to a C, and now technically it's a G suspended chord. G sus, would be a G sus4. It's used to play modal tunes, or tunes that are in Mixolydian or Dorian or some kind of minor mode either. So. Alright, and then you've got another really common tuning would be this is double C, but it's much more common to take this and do the same thing from G to A. You know, put a capo in here and tune this up. And so this is double C, but you would make it double D. So right now it's G, uh, G, C, G,